Hello everyone, I'm Matt Carvalho, and I have with me at this time Representative Cicilline. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. So I have an interview for you.
Okay.
Well, let's just get right into it. My first question is, what is it that made you want to do politics?
Well, I went to school to be a lawyer and went to college here in Rhode Island, and I went to law school in Washington. And I was always very interested in politics as a young person. I participated in Project Close Up, and I was in model legislature, and I went to Boys State and Boys Nation, run by the American Legion. I was always really interested in politics and felt like that was a place where I could make a difference and make a contribution. When I went to law school, I worked as a public defender in Washington, and I represented young people that were involved in the court system and kids that were living in really very, very serious poverty, who didn't have a lot of opportunities. And I represented them and helped them, get back into school, help find a job, and I felt like I was really having an impact on the kids' lives that I represented. But I always understood that if I was going to really make a difference for a larger group of people, that politics was one way to do it. And if I really wanted to have an impact on a lot more kids that were in situations like that, politics was a place where I could make a difference. So I moved back to Rhode Island to run for public office. But I always knew it was a place where you could make a difference in improving people's lives, and if it worked right, you could actually do things that made a real difference and that improved people's lives and helped create opportunities for people. So I ran for office, lost my first election badly, but then ran 2 years later for the House of Representatives and won, and served 8 years in the House and then 8 years as mayor of Providence, and now in my fourth term in Congress.
Now, what would you say that you've done to help the community as a U.S. representative?
Well, I mean, there are a number of different things that you do. I work along with Senator Reid and Senator Whitehouse, Congressman, to be sure that Rhode Island gets its fair share of federal money. So we try hard to get grants for cities and towns, whether it's a COPS grant for a police department to allow them to hire more police officers, or a SAFER grant for a fire department to allow them to hire more firefighters or buy equipment they need, or whether it's a grant for some important infrastructure like at the Port of Providence or at Quonset, type of grant. So fighting to make sure we get our fair share. Second is, I work very hard on what I call constituent casework, but individual problems the constituents have with the IRS or with the Immigration Service or with Social Security or with the VA to help them solve individual problems. And we've done that for thousands of Rhode Islanders. Working on legislation that I put forth to help promote American manufacturing, or to make college more affordable, or to make it easier for people to vote. So working affirmatively to advance my own legislation. And then of course standing up and fighting to protect things that are important around, like Pell Grants, Social Security, Medicare, and trying to stop bad things from happening. So I always divide the work into those kind of 4 buckets.
All right. Well, I am an up and rising senior in high school. When you were in college, what was like some of your favorite classes and professors when you were around?
I liked my political science classes. I had Professor Nancy Rosenblum, who was one of my favorite professors. Darrell West, who taught American presidential elections. I also was a student of art history, so I took a lot of art history classes, which I liked.
What does it mean you want to go to law school afterwards?
I always thought of the law and being a lawyer as a place where you could try to correct injustice. And some of the early work I did as a lawyer was doing civil rights work for people that had their civil rights violated, particularly by people who were beaten and brutalized by a police officer or arrested falsely. And so I always understood the power of the law to protect people's rights and to be a vehicle for justice. And so being a lawyer and being part of that was something that was very interesting to me.
Was there any big memorable cases you had as a lawyer?
I have a lot of memorable cases, but I come from a family of lawyers. My father's a lawyer, my brother's a lawyer, my uncles are lawyers, so a lot of lawyers in my family. And now my niece is going to law school.
Well, my next question is, according to a new Washington Post ABC News poll, the pollers were asked if the Democratic Party had a clear message. 11% said that they had no opinion. 37% said that they do have a clear message. And 52% said no, they were just trying to stop President Trump. My question to you is, do you have a clear message? And if so, what is it?
Yes, we actually just launched a new Democratic agenda just last week called A Better Deal, which is focused on better wages, better jobs for a better future. And it's really a commitment to fight for things which will raise people's incomes, because that's the thing that I think most people are worried about, is that they're working harder, they're working 2 or 3 jobs, but they've seen their income stagnant for a very long time. A lot of the economic growth, a lot of the prosperity in the country has been felt by the people at the very top, and not really by people who have produced this great increase in productivity. So raising family incomes. The second part of it is cutting, lowering costs for families. So attacking the things that are going up. Figuring out how to reduce the cost of healthcare, of childcare, of college affordability, all the things that people are worried about and spending money on. And then the third part of the agenda is really a commitment to make sure that we're preparing people for the jobs of the 21st century by a really substantial increase, doubling our investments at the federal level in apprenticeships, creating better career path, paid job training, but helping people who are looking for work, have the skills necessary to find a job, and also helping people who currently have jobs stay in those jobs by improving their skills. So it's really about raising people's incomes, lowering the cost in their lives, and preparing them for the jobs of the future.
And do you think this will be very effective?
Well, it's an agenda that really recognizes that, the Democratic Party has for a long time fought for hardworking middle-class families. We haven't always been great about communicating what we're fighting for and what we're doing, but I think this was an opportunity for us to really put together a very strong agenda, very focused on improving the economic lives of working families in this country. People who are playing by the rules, working hard, that just can't seem to get ahead. People always believe that their children have a better life than they had. That's sort of the American tradition. Is your life, your children have a better life than you do. We're living the first time where people don't think that's the case, and that's because they're working 2 or 3 jobs, just barely getting by. They see the cost of everything in their lives going up, but their incomes aren't. And they have a lot of anxiety about, are they going to hold on to a job they have? If they have the skills that are necessary for the jobs in the new economy. So our economic agenda really focuses on core economic anxieties that families are feeling, to try to, again, give people confidence that if they work hard, they play by the rules, they can get ahead, they can buy a house, they can send their kids to school, they can save for their retirement, and then retire with dignity and peace of mind. And I think that's what Democrats stand for. That's what our agenda will do. And I think they've seen a lot of broken promises from this president, who talked about those things, but is not taking actions to actually make those things happen. And so people are looking for, I think, a better deal, and I think that's what Democrats have proposed.
Right. In President George Washington's farewell address, he warned that political parties will divide and ruin the country. What are your thoughts on that?
I think President Washington said, a quote was something about being a political party at war with the government or something. I think, we're seeing, unfortunately, right now in Washington, a lot of my Republican colleagues who seem to be so committed to the behavior of this president, even though I think they have some concerns about him because they're so loyal to the Republican Party. I think what we need in Washington is people who are loyal to the American people, who are working on behalf of the American people. I'm a proud Democrat. I think that's what the Democratic Party has stood for. But I always make decisions that I think are in the best interest of Rhode Island and the best interest of the people that I serve, which are Rhode Islanders from every political party and then from no political party. So I think, people want us to work together when we can to find common ground. But I think it's important that you make decisions that are right for your state and your district, which is what I do.
So do you feel that politicians that are in their party should be completely loyal to it no matter what, or more fight for?
No, I don't think parties, I think political parties historically have given people kind of a core set of values that describe the priorities of that party. I think for Democrats it's been working families, has been clean energy, has been equality, civil rights, has been a number of things that have been really important to the progress in our country. Tax policies that don't give too many tax breaks to just the people at the top, but take care of middle class and working families. We support programs that help people get out of poverty into the middle class. So I think parties are intended to kind of define your values and your priorities, but your loyalty always should be to your country, and to your state, and to the people you represent.
So in 2020, who do you think will be the next Democratic presidential nominee?
I don't think we know that yet. I mean, we have a lot of great talent in the Democratic Party, a lot of great governors, a lot of great colleagues of mine in the Congress. There may be some people who are new to politics that will be candidates, but I have no doubt that we're going to have plenty of terrific, talented people that will vie for the Democratic nomination for president.
Do you feel that maybe not in this election, but maybe in an upcoming election, it might be you, or maybe in the running for it?
I haven't really thought about it. It's, Rhode Island has only 4 electoral votes, so it's hard. I think if you look throughout history, a lot of our presidents have come from states where they bring a lot more electoral votes to it. And I'm really very, very happy to have the privilege of serving Rhode Island in Congress, and I don't think that will be me in the next few years.
All right, well, my next question is, with the threat of ISIS, how do you think the U.S. should handle it, and how do you think President Trump will handle it?
Well, President Trump campaigned on his commitment to defeat ISIS, which of course is an important priority for all of us in government. He promised to kind of articulate a plan and a strategy for doing that. He hasn't actually done that yet, but I'm hoping he's working on it. But I think key to that is going to be developing a real alliance with our partners and allies around the world. This is not something the United States can do alone. We need to support many of our allies who are in this fight and who are geographically in the places where the fight is occurring. We need to be sure that we're supporting them in this effort. But this is an ongoing threat, this sort of the growth of terrorism around the world, and we've got to effectively invest in our own national defense, invest in strong alliances with partners around the world, and then we also have to be sure that we are continuing to honor the values that have made this country great and investing in emerging democracies around the world that will make the world a safer place.
Do you think that there will ever, with the threat of ISIS, be a need for a draft?
It's hard to know. I think anytime we have a major military conflict, it's important that that responsibility be shared broadly. And I think Congress has the responsibility to debate carefully any request by the president for an authorization to use military force, and that will include consideration of if military force is necessary, what does that force look like, and what is the personnel necessary to effectively execute that mission. And that's when I think Congress has to have a conversation about how do we staff up for this effort. But I'm a big believer that we have to do everything we can first to avoid military conflict, to try to resolve instability and unrest with diplomatic efforts, and really investing in a serious way in de-escalation and try to figure out how do we solve problems using our diplomatic abilities first to protect national security interests of this country, and that war and military conflict should be an action of last resort.
Do you think with our allies we could take down ISIS?
Oh, I don't think there's any question that the United States by itself or in conjunction with our allies has the military power to defeat ISIS. But this is about making sure that we defeat ISIS and also we leave behind a sustainable, safer place, because you don't want to, play whack-a-mole where you're killing ISIS, 20,000 fighters, and then 50,000 more fighters are born over here, the sons and daughters of ISIS. So it's about being smart about this strategy of defeating it, but also making sure that there's a sustainable, strong, government or entity that's there to keep the peace and prevent the resurgence of these terrorist groups.
Now, do you think North Korea poses a threat? And if so, what do you think we should do about them? And what do you think President Trump will do?
Yeah, I think North Korea is a very serious threat to the stability of the region and the stability of the world. We have a leader, Kim Jong-un, who has made it clear that he intends to continue with his nuclear weapons development and his intercontinental ballistic missile capability, who is engaged in very provocative and aggressive behaviors and testing. This is a challenge for us because in very close proximity to North Korea is South Korea, and so there's not a good military option because within seconds of striking North Korea or nuclear weapons sites, they can launch a conventional weapon attack on South Korea, particularly on Seoul, which is very densely populated and kill millions of people potentially. So there's not a good military option. I think what we've got to continue to do is put diplomatic pressure, economic pressure to isolate them, continue to press China to stop the kind of furnishing them with the resources that are necessary for their nuclear weapons program. China's in an unusual position because on the one hand, they are not particularly interested in North Korea causing the instability it's causing in the region. On the other hand, the only thing that they're more concerned about than North Korea is a unified Korean peninsula as the North and South coming together, allied against China. So they have a lot of anxiety about that. So they want just enough instability to keep North and South Korea as two countries, but not enough instability to start a war. So they're trying to, play this very delicate balance. But we have to make it clear to China that they are continuing to provide resources to the North Koreans that they are using to support their nuclear program is really undermining stability in that region of the world, and something we have to continue to work hard to prevent them from doing. I think containing the North Koreans and preventing them from ever contemplating using the weapons that they're developing is an important priority. I think there's not a good military option, there's not a good diplomatic option. It's a question of limiting the ability of the North Koreans to proceed. We also, as President Obama has indicated, have been engaged in a pretty sophisticated cyber operation against the North Koreans, which will, of course, continue.
And what do you think President Trump will do with this? Do you hope he does limit their powers, or do you think?
Well, I worry that President Trump does not seem to have spent the time necessary to really understand the historical challenges and the geopolitical consequences. He sort of resorts to Twitter and kind of taunts Kim Jong-un and even the Chinese. I think this is much too serious and complicated a situation to leave it to Twitter to advance the national security interests of the United States. This is something he needs to consult carefully with his intelligence experts, his defense experts, his State Department personnel, to really craft a thoughtful strategy to reduce the likelihood that the North Koreans are going to fully develop and then use nuclear weapons.
Now, besides his tweets with North Korea, what do you think of Trump's tweets? And how do you think he should be spending his Twitter account?
Well, I think sadly we've seen the use of his Twitter account to be a huge distraction. The president has made a number of representations on Twitter with some frequency that are just not true, which is very kind of unbecoming of the president of the United States. But I think he's used him to attack people, to attack women, to attack our allies, to undermine members of his own administration. I don't think it's been a productive use of Twitter. I think most people would acknowledge that it's not adding to the stability or effectiveness of this administration.
Well, my last question, I'll make it more on a good note. What do you think the state slogan of Rhode Island should be? The whole controversy from last year. What do you think it should be?
I mean, there are a lot of smart people, I'm sure, who have good ideas. I mean, I think our slogan should be something which invites people to Rhode Island. What I find is that people who come here for the first time are just blown away. They think, this is such a beautiful state, such great people, so much diversity, so many great cities and towns, beautiful beaches. That I think a lot of people don't know, like all the things that Rhode Island has to offer. The oldest synagogue in North America, the First Baptist Church in North America, the beauty of Newport, the great industrial revolution, which is celebrated all through the Blackstone Valley, now home to a new national park. So I think people we've got to figure out a slogan that lets people know kind of how extraordinary this place is and how much they'll get to see if they come to visit. But I know there are a number of great minds that are working on slogans for Rhode Island. But I think something which captures, there's a lot of great stuff here that you may not realize.
So maybe not the cool and warmer state.
I think everyone has agreed that one didn't work.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good questions. Thanks.